Rita is ambassador of climate change from the government of Guatemala. Rita has followed closely UNFCCC negotiations since 2004 as a negotiator and in other roles. She's been awarded for her work that led to her contribution to the Paris Agreement. And most recently, she served as chair of the Paris Committee on Capacity Building. I welcome Rita, Mishaan, and ask that her slides be shared.
Thank you, Christine. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you really well. Thank you.
Christine, can
Very
we?
good.
Want the slides up now, Rita?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, can I have the screen, Christine?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
So as we await for my presentation, I want to say good morning to good afternoon to and the rest of the regions that are with us today. I know it's a bit of a different time, but it's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank the coordinators for this event on why governance matters for a better climate. And as you can see, my responsibility today is to speak about building bridges amongst formal and informal groups established under the UNFCCC negotiation. Continue, please. Well, as you all know, the world, in order to achieve a goal, must agree and shake hands. It's very important that we all shake hands in order to be able to get to a certain point in the negotiations. At the UNFCCC is by consensus that we make decisions, and as you all know, consensus means that if one party is against a decision, everything is blocked and the decisions cannot go forward. Therefore, consensus is a key factor in the UNFCCC negotiations. A shake of hands, openness to listen to one another results into affirmative action. Therefore, open communication, and that is a must in the UNFCCC. Continue, please. This picture that you see is a famous picture. Some of us were there, some of us have seen it in the past, and this is the moment in which the Paris Agreement was consensus and agreed to become what it is today. Though getting to the Paris Agreement wasn't easy. It lasted several years of negotiations, being the previous 3 COPs key during since the COP at Copenhagen, when there were difficulties and trust was lagging, and the multilateralism entered into a phase of mistrust, lack of confidence, elements that are key for the negotiation, and all of this was surpassed. And then we had the Paris Agreement, which, as you know, the goal of the Paris Agreement is to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change in the context of sustainable development and efforts to eradicate poverty. This has been said easily, but we all know what it was to achieve the Paris Agreement, and now we are proud of having the Paris Agreement on board. Thank you. Continue, please. Continue, please. All of the Paris Agreement no, go back, please. All of the Paris Agreement gives us avenues and an implementation guide as the rule book in order to achieve what the goal was set. Here you can see there are pictures of bridges that connect rocks, bridges that connect mountains, bridges that connect land over water. And all of these bridges, what they represent is the strength and the unity that things can get done. We need to work towards strengthening those bridges. We need to work to listen to one another, and we need to innovate the ways that we can bridge one another in the future negotiations. Continue, please. I will go through then what is needed to strengthen bridges, who are the major role players, though I will not focus on the structure of the UNFCCC. Continue, please. Which are the different groups that exist, the formal and informal, and a simple brief on how to operate and the influence that they generate in the sphere of work. Here you can see, please go back. I'm sorry. Please go back one. I'm sorry for this. Yes, who are the main actors? As you can see, countries are the parties. The parties, the conference of the parties is called COP because it's the conference parties, and the parties are the governments that are registered at the UNFCCC. These are countries that have ratified the convention in order to be a part. So the conference of the parties are 106 parties. Continue, please. 196 parties that make the decisions. The next slide, please. So, what do these parties? No, you have to. I'm sorry, you have to go back one. This is terrible. The previous one.
I think we
I'm
may
sorry.
be having some confusion,
Which
Rita,
one?
between what's on the screen, because you want one that's now titled, "Who are the main actors in the negotiations?"
This is where I would like to be, yes.
Yeah, and that's what I see on my screen right now.
Yes, but then we had the following one. Anyways, let me just continue. The country members that have ratified the convention are the parties, and they have access to all meeting rooms. The observers, the non-party stakeholders are NGOs, civil societies, indigenous people, UN agencies, academia, or any others. And they have access to formal meetings and informal meetings only when parties agree to give them the opportunity to participate. Then we have the press. The press is important also for international and national levels in order to communicate what is taking place in the negotiations. They have access to formal meetings as well as to of course, the press conferences. And then we have the Secretariat of the Convention that organizes the session and gives ample access to all parties and non-member stakeholders as well. Continue, please. In the following one, we can see all the different formal and informal groups. If you can see the previous one, there are many overlappings in all the formal and informal groups. And this is a very interesting factor because due to the overlapping, that means that one person from the African group can talk to is part of the G77, and as well as of islands are part of some small islands countries, as well as least developed countries. So this overlapping permits to talk to different groups at the same time in different from the different regions, which helps to construct and build the bridges that are needed to achieve a major decision. We can continue, please. In the following one, you have the major groups: the European Community with 27 members, the Umbrella Group with 11 members, the G77 and China with 130 members, AOCs with 43 members, EIG with 3 members, African Group 53 members, GRULAC 33 members, LDCs 50 members, and in this slide, GRULAC I must mention that it's not part of the negotiations of the UFCCC because it only functions in the headquarters of New York, and it's dedicated to mostly to apply to nominations of the different piece of the UNFCCC. Continue, please. In the following one, we have other groups that are not officially registered under the UNFCCC. ILAC is the Latin American Caribbean Alliance, Independent Alliance. ALBA is the Bolivarian Alliance. Rainforest Coalition is dedicated to REDD+. The Arab Group, SICA is the Central American Integrational System, and GRULAC again. If you can see, these groups are not officially registered due to the fact that they were organized through the processes towards certain nations or towards certain stages of the negotiations under the multilateralism. ILAC has become a very important group in the negotiations due to the fact that they have an advisors unit that includes professionals from different parts of Latin America that are experts on specific issues as mitigation, adaptation, finance, etc., in order to advise the countries that participate in the negotiations. Guatemala is a member of ILAC, and therefore we have advisors that can guide us through the negotiations because they are dedicated and they follow step by step throughout the whole year a specific issue. Therefore, that has given strength to the 8 Latin American countries that participate in ILAC. The same as for the other groups, but in the case of SICA, the Central American Integrational System, which Guatemala is also a member of, sometimes the voice is not as strong because they lack this advisory committee that is so important in ILAC. Then we have the Cartagena dialogue, which is a very innovative way of approaching the negotiations. In this Cartagena dialogue, we have more than 30 countries participating, from developed countries to developing countries, least developed, Asia Pacific, etc. And we are all in this table together, preparing for the negotiations with different points of view, which is a key factor in the negotiations. Each one of us has to learn to listen to one another openly, because we all come from different cultures, we all come from different backgrounds, and sometimes even if we speak English all at the same time and at the same table, not necessarily we are implying the same things. Therefore, openness in listening is very important, and generating the trust needed in order to advance and create the bridges that we were speaking of. Therefore, these two examples, ILAC is a good example I wanted to bring on the table. Cartagena dialogue is another excellent example that I wanted to bring on the table of the ways, the innovative and the flexible ways that we can continue during the negotiations in order to achieve the aim that we are aiming at. Next. Of course, what the Paris Agreement is reducing greenhouse gas emissions in view to holding the increase in the global average temperature to well below 2 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial levels, and pursuing efforts to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. We all know this. We have discussed it. We have achieved it, but we are very far from achieving that goal. And as we all know, continue please. We need to continue paying attention to science. We need to continue paying attention to the progression of the gas emissions, and there are facts that we must keep in mind. The first one is that activities of society in the modern world emit greenhouse gas emissions every step of the way. The more population grows, the more GHG that we add to the atmosphere. In the recent studies, 51 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions have been added to the year, every year to the atmosphere. Zero is what we need to aim at. The result otherwise will be catastrophic. The decisions are collectively agreed. They are a set of facts, affirmations, and maps and tools that become legally binding. And rules that become legally binding. Time is of essence. The planet is one and our only home. There is no plan B. We need ambition. We need to achieve net zero goals. Continue. Here are some graphics of the global carbon budget study in 2019, which shows us how the temperature is rising, how the growth of greenhouse emissions is also rising. And then the following one, we have the sectors that emit the most. The next one, please. The sectors that emit the most as fossil fuels, land use change, ocean, land, and atmosphere, all from this same study. We also have tools that have been provided to us by certain institutes and continue certain negotiation. Is of utmost importance that we keep in mind that trust, now that opportunity presently have to find this we have to adapt, and we have to find ways in which the platforms that we are using now can be reached by all to leave anyone behind. We need to make that all non-state actors are also on the table as well, which hasn't always been easy. But communication and trust remains the key factor in negotiation. So, if you continue, please. If you remember, during the years of the Paris Agreement, Macron said, let's not fool ourselves about climate. There is no planet B. This is at the time when the United States was leaving the Paris Agreement, and then now is back, which we applaud. Then we also have another one from Cristiana Figueres saying that after so many failed negotiations on climate change and other issues, this agreement opened the door to hope, and it confirms that it is possible to reach global agreements. Therefore, lessons learned, a lot of difficult times throughout the years, but we finally achieved the Paris Agreement.
I'm wondering if others are hearing Rita.
No,
we can't hear her.
No. Okay, I think we have lost Rita. Let's just proceed with, can you just go to the next slide?
I think I'm back.
Oh, good, hooray. You could wrap up.
Okay, well,
Rita,
these are
we're over time.
some of, yes. I just want to continue to the following one, please. Just remembering what Mayor Brown said in September 2018 at a meeting in San Francisco. We must remember that we have to do the right thing because it is the right thing to do. We must act now, and we must act in the right direction. Vision is the only key factor in order to achieve the Paris Agreement and the temperature that we need in order to survive. Thank you.